Hello there and welcome to the Trending Now podcast for this Friday, March the 1st, 2024. I'm Louis Butko and thank you for joining us today as we recap the week that was on Trending Now, which you can catch every Monday to Friday, 7 p.m. and 11:30 on CHCH, chch.com, and our Trending Now YouTube page. Coming up on today's show, remembering Brian Mulroney, the 18th Prime Minister of Canada, died this week at the age of 84. Emily Tayler is in for Nicole Martin and joins us with the latest. Meanwhile, comedian Richard Lewis also passed away this week. The acclaimed comedian was known for his self-deprecating humor. Recently, he also starred alongside Larry David in Curb Your Enthusiasm. Manesa Dhanabalan joins us with more. And where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Actually, where in the world is Kate Middleton? Conspiracy theories are running wild after she was last seen in public on Christmas Day of 2023. Laura Sebben has that story and more before we say goodbye. But we start with Emily Tayler, who's in for Nicole Martin as the host. And I will say I was in for Nicole Martin as the host for the last few weeks. That's where this show has been. I will admit that this was take two.
It's been a while since you've done a podcast.
It's been a while since I've done this. This was take two. Thanks to director Mike Corsten for catching us on take one.
But 2 weeks of hosting a live show, which is not a small feat.
Thank you.
Great job.
Yes, you're taking over for the next few weeks.
Yep.
We're thinking of Nicole, who's recovering.
Yep.
We're hearing good things, so we can't wait to see her back. But it's a lot of fun hosting this show. We got to admit.
It really is. It's a very fun show.
It is a lot because it's like, you know, and we say this all the time, like there's so much happening.
Yes.
And like I find people, I was at a baby shower last week where someone came up to me and was like, how do you know all this stuff? Like how, because you have to be well read, I would think. Like I don't think I know, but it is a difficult job being host and working with Laura and just like deciding on which stories are the ones we're going to attack.
Oh, definitely. And like I produced actually one day this week in which you were hosting, I was producing. We had the full like fill-in B team on the blog, and that's the hardest part, honestly, is that day especially. We had so much to pick from that we ended up swapping one of our stories around. There was stuff that we left out we definitely could have included. So it's there's a lot happening, but you got to pick and choose.
B team crushed it last 2 Wednesdays. You're going to do a great job. You did a great job last night. You've done this before. Can't wait to see you the rest of the way. The big story today, this week, and again, this is what makes this job. We're a live show. People may not know this. Yes, there's some elements that, you know, we get it done ahead of time.
Yep.
But it's a live show. So, you know, 6:45 last night, former Prime Minister dies.
Yes.
That's the big story today, that being Brian Mulroney. How is this being felt across Canada right now?
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of politicians make their statements either last night or today, really saying that he was just a very genuine, charismatic person who cared so deeply about his causes, right? And even well into his older age and past the point where he was prime minister, he was still very involved in trade negotiations, the environment, the things that he worked on when he was prime minister and then just, you know, kept it going.
Yeah, I mean, what I've heard, like retail politician, we hear that so much. Like, you know, you need to be able to interact with people. You need to be able to talk. But hearing, you know, people who've worked with him, Al Sweeney, a great reporter we have on CHCH Evening News, he was telling some stories and just says, you know, the most charismatic person. And could call you up, you know, and be the prime minister, but it wouldn't feel like that. And that's a lot of people remembering him for his charisma and the way he was able to deal with people.
Well, I think a lot of people nowadays, politicians, are really upset with things that sound very manufactured or PR speak or like, oh, that's like politics talk and whatever it is, that he felt very much, maybe it was a different era, but he felt like he was speaking as a real person, not necessarily as a politician all the time. Yeah. And we're going through all kinds of old footage, even footage when he came to the CHCH offices, I think on Jackson, right downtown Hamilton. And it just, you know, he's there and it seems like he's having a real conversation. I've never met him, but.
It's one of those things that like when a prime minister dies, because there's only so many of them, right? Like it is a big deal. It doesn't happen all the time, right?
Yeah.
Like a prime minister dying. So what's the plan? Like what's happening? State funeral? Like is there such thing as state funerals in Canada? Like what do we expect to see here?
That's a great question. From what I've seen, the family so far has been pretty private about this kind of thing. I don't know if you've seen more details than I have about.
It's still early in the day. I know.
Still early days.
Story's coming along.
Wait.
Yeah.
That's a great question because I haven't seen anything from from the family like announcing
Yeah.
what is going to happen, but I would imagine there'll be a very public celebration of life.
Yeah.
And a big memorial for him. I mean, you're right. There's only so many people who are able to hold this high of a role in Canada and influence many Canadians.
Speaking of people in high roles, the Supreme Court of the United States will weigh in on whether Donald Trump will be immune from prosecution, as he claims for trying to overturn his 2020 election loss. He thinks he won it, by the way.
Oh, yes.
He has made it very clear he thinks he won it. Now, the decision effectively delays criminal prosecution against the former president, potentially pushing any trials until after the election.
Yeah.
Pretty significant that the Supreme Court's going to hear this.
It really is, and it was shocking to a lot of people. A lot of lawmakers and legal experts thought they simply weren't going to weigh in because a lower court already said, like, no, he does not have immunity. There's no blanket immunity for presidents for things that they did while they were in office. So it's shocking, first of all, that they even took it up in the first place. But this kind of is a win for Trump because his lawyers have been doing everything they can to delay, right? They're not necessarily trying to get him out of these charges or get him to win against these charges. Their tactic right now is just push it past the November election. He's doing really well in the Republican primaries right now, and he's not got a bad shot against the incumbent, Joe Biden, even though incumbents traditionally go for a second term in the States. And if he wins, he knows he can pardon himself and that he can tell the DOJ to stop all of these cases, which I think is the goal here.
So the question in front of the Supreme Court is, quote, whether, and if so, to what extent does a former president enjoy presidential immunity from criminal prosecution for conduct alleged to involve official acts during his tenure in office. People I've heard that alleged in there is a big word because who's the one doing the alleging? Because the president will say that, of course, this was his official duties as president, but how much does a president have to actually say about an election in which he's running in, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're at. And this is the Jack Smith case, right?
It is, yeah.
So that is the trying to overthrow the 2020 election.
Yeah, so that's the one that's on pause, the special counsel Jack Smith's case, where it is Trump's role in trying to overturn the election. That's the one that's being like fully just, you got to time out, pause until we get an answer on this kind of thing. And the rest of them will also be impacted by this. He's under so many different civil and criminal cases right now that they're all going to be impacted for whether or not he has immunity. Because if you're allowed to do anything you want as the president and have no repercussions criminally or civilly afterwards, who is he accountable to? Like,
well, that's what he says. He says presidents, this is the word on Truth Social, that without presidential immunity, presidents will always be concerned and even paralyzed by the prospect of wrongful prosecution and retaliation after they leave office. The thing is, there were 43 presidents before him.
You know, I actually don't know.
Nobody was ever really concerned about this. And
that's the thing is, he served a whole term without immunity. So all of them.
Yeah, that's what I mean. This wasn't a problem for the 200 years of America before this. The other thing is that he appointed 3 of the judges in the 6-3. That's a pretty dramatic Supreme Court.
Yeah.
6 conservative leading judges, 3 more liberal leading judges. I mean, that alone in itself, you're like, is that?
So a lot of people have made a suggestion that essentially this was the court saying, we're going to help you out, my political friend, the person who appointed us onto this committee, and at least take a look at the case. There's no saying what exactly they'll rule in this. I'm not saying they're going to give him immunity, but even in looking at this case and saying it has legs, there's some legitimate concern here that the Supreme Court needs to look at it. That's already handing him a win, right? That's already delaying things. It's already taking his arguments seriously. He's throwing everything he can at the wall right now, right? To try and get everything delayed. And they're saying, okay, that's legitimate. Let's take a look at this, which is a huge win for Trump. And probably to some extent, the 6-3 majority that the conservatives have, including 3 that he has appointed.
And, some people are suggesting that, with this, this is just them covering all their bases. And they can say, it did go to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court even rejected it. This is what you have to deal with. But it should be interesting. And like you said, it's a win for Trump.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, you know what? If anyone deserves a win, honestly, if anyone deserves a win, it's that guy right there. Look at the tan. Oh, my gosh. Oh, that's not a great picture.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if I'm going to Yeah.
Go there?
I wouldn't go there personally.
All right.
But
You got to finish up your Mulroney story, so I appreciate you making time. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And thanks to Emily Taylor for joining me on today's show. Still ahead, we'll be joined by Laura Sebben. Coming up in just a little bit, we'll be joined by Manesa Dhanabalan, who will give us the latest on another sad death this week as Richard Lewis passed away. We'll get to that story in just a second. But first, I want to get to this. A number of European countries this week insisted they will not be sending troops to Ukraine after French President Emmanuel Macron said the idea should not be ruled out. Kremlin, meanwhile, warned of the inevitability of a direct conflict between NATO and Russia if the alliance sends them. Now, this all comes as U.S. President Joe Biden met with congressional leaders, warning them of dire consequences if Ukraine didn't get $60 billion in additional military aid. Now, like I said, world leaders across the world, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz says will not be sending troops. Polish President Donald Tusk also rejected the idea while calling on other European countries to step up their monetary and ammunition support. A Kremlin spokesperson speaking after Macron's remarks said the very fact of discussing the possibility of sending certain contingents to Ukraine from NATO countries is a very important new development. In that case, we would need to talk about the probability, not about the probability, excuse me, but about the inevitability, referring to direct conflict with NATO members. U.S. also, denied that they would be sending troops into Ukraine as well. So still something to watch with Emmanuel Macron saying that kind of stuff. Sad news in the world of comedy. As a man who brought lots of laughs over the past decade, Richard Lewis passed away this week after suffering a heart attack. The acclaimed comedian was known for his self-deprecating humor. Recently also starred alongside Larry David in Curb Your Enthusiasm. Manesa Dhanabalan was on this story, and I will throw you under the bus here. You admitted...
No.
No, you just asked
You're not doing this to me again. No, this is going to be Cher all over again. I refuse.
You just asked me if I thought he was funny. That's what I was going to say. You asked me if I thought he was funny, and I said yes. Curb Your Enthusiasm is my type of humor. I've seen every episode, even up until the one that aired on Sunday. But yeah, you not really your humor though.
I mean, I did have to kind of
chuckle
just
a couple times though watching some of his stuff. You had a couple of chuckles.
When he talked about like when he's on his bike, his stationary bike, and he like looks into the rearview mirror and he gets stressed. I could like feel the fear and the panic and the anxiety, and so it did make me laugh. So maybe I just wasn't like I didn't have enough time to actually really like watch his shows, right? So I guess I couldn't really,
Yeah, Curb Your Enthusiasm, like I said, it's one of my favorite shows. Larry David, who of course is his co-star on that, but also his friend, they have a connection that goes back their entire lives, basically.
Yeah, they were born in the same hospital, 3 days apart. And quote, Richard Lewis said that Larry David hit him with his mom's umbilical cord. That made me laugh.
There you go.
That made me laugh.
This one was sad. This one was I think this happened Wednesday. And a couple people in the newsroom who know Richard Lewis, big fans of Curb Your Enthusiasm, was just like one of those things. Obviously, he had Parkinson's. He wasn't doing well. He was open about his struggles with alcoholism and drugs throughout his career as well. Just sad news. So I know. It's sad. Let's move on to something fun, because people may have noticed they haven't seen you in the last few weeks.
Yes, I was in Europe.
Not just not on Trending Now, but you weren't on the air at all on CHCH. You went away for a few weeks.
I went away for 2 weeks. I went to Europe. So I went to France for 3 days. I did London for 5 days. And the Netherlands just like 1 day. Or something like that. And then I came back. And we did stop by Germany.
Just how do you stop by Germany?
Because one of my cousins, so my cousin lives on near the border, between Netherlands and Germany.
Okay.
So and then his older brother who moved out lives in Germany. Because it's literally just 30 minutes apart, right? So we did stop by.
What that has to be a bit of a culture shock where another country, like, I mean, here in, like, you know, where our area, yeah, the US is like 30 minutes away, but to be able to like transverse Europe in like a week, what was that like? Like, had you ever been? Like, was this your first time?
It was crazy because like me and Alex were literally already, because like we went from London and then we took a nap at home. And then after that we like got up and then me and my cousin and like his dad, we all drove to Netherlands. And then after that we were there, we stayed that night, and then we were going to my cousin's house in like Germany, and then after that we stopped by Belgium because gas was cheaper there, and it was just like literally 15 minutes
to hit all these countries.
Within an hour, we were literally in Netherlands, Germany, Belgium, back in Netherlands again. Within an hour.
That's amazing.
So I was like, what the hell?
Like here, it's like,
oh, sorry.
For us to, you can say that. You can say that.
Okay.
I mean, you might get in trouble from, you know, if your mom listens for saying that, because you're not allowed cursing. But that's because it's like, for us to get to Toronto, it's a pain in the ass, right? Like, it's like, God, I don't want to go to Toronto. Like, I'm going to be stuck in traffic. Like, let's just not go. Yeah. Like, it's just a different world out there. What was the favorite part of your trip?
Okay, so Alex, it was my fiance's first time in France. Like, I've been there 3 times, right? Mm-hmm. So we went there, and like, we wanted to take him to the Eiffel Tower, but then we all were like so drunk and hungover that it took us so long to get ready. And we checked out a bunch of other things, and then we went to the Eiffel Tower last. And by the time we got there, the lights were turned off, and you couldn't even see the Eiffel Tower. It was so dark. It was nighttime, and all you could see is the little like red light at the top.
Oh my gosh! I didn't even know they turned off the lights.
Yeah, they do.
So what time was it?
It was 11:40.
Oh.
Yeah.
That seems lame. Is it that bright? I guess you wouldn't know with the lights on, right? You didn't see it.
And like the guy we were asking, he was just, you know, like they're selling like little like knickknacks in the front and whatever. So we asked him like, hey, like what happened? And he was French, right? So then it was me and Alex who were asking. We don't know French. So he was like struggling to explain to us that it turns off at 11:40. So it was actually really, really funny.
You said Alex, did he get to a soccer game?
Okay, so unfortunately, no.
Oh, no.
Because
he was so excited.
He was so excited for his Chelsea versus, I think it was Tottenham. Sorry, Alex, if I got it wrong. But then apparently they advanced in something and they went to the finals of something.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so then they were playing Liverpool the day after, and we already left by then. And there's no way we could get tickets for that, right?
Yeah, no, that was like the FA Cup final or something, wasn't it? It was a big deal.
And Alex was like, that's not happening.
No, we had the story, Carabao Cup. We had the story on Trending Now.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, no big deal.
But Alex actually instead went to Stamford Stadium.
Oh, cool.
And he did like a little tour of that, and he had like an amazing time.
That's awesome.
He also dropped a lot of money on a lot of Chelsea gear, but I couldn't really say anything.
Don't you have a wedding coming up?
Maybe
years
it's probably
down the road.
It's gonna go from 3 years to 4 years now because of this trip.
What was that adjustment? Because you got back. We were talking about like vacation days. Like you've used your vacation.
I've used all my vacation days. I was so tired.
It is March the 1st, by the way. You were back on. So you flew in Tuesday night, and you were back here Wednesday. How are you doing? Like, how are you physically doing?
I was okay. I was really, really tired because near that end stretch, it was like a lot of like back and forth, you know, jumping from like France to Netherlands and then coming back to France. It was a lot. Yeah. Not to mention that my nieces got a stomach virus.
Everybody except for you apparently got the stomach virus.
I know.
Even Alex got it.
Yes, Alex got it, and so he got stage
really
1,
just
stage
throwing everybody
2,
under the
everything.
bus here. Really throwing everybody under the bus.
Yeah, he's not gonna be happy.
You told everyone I was throwing up on the podcast.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
So you survived. Well, welcome back. It's great to see you back. You've made it to Friday. Well-earned weekend.
Thank you. Any plans for the weekend?
Yes. So it's my friend's birthday. Actually, one of an old PA who used to work here. It's his birthday.
Who?
Braden.
Oh my gosh, really?
So it's his birthday today. And so for the second Friday in a row, I think karaoke is in the cards. So I did karaoke last weekend up in Guelph. He's got a karaoke room somewhere in Hamilton. Do you know? Is there a karaoke place in Hamilton?
I know it's karaoke place in Mississauga.
Yeah, either way. So he's got a room booked out. So I'm going to belt some tunes.
You could sing?
Yeah. I can sing really well, actually.
Can you actually?
I can. Like shockingly well. I'm not going to sing here. No, don't ask me to do that.
I mean, you do need something.
Yeah, like I need like music, like chorus, and give me something. Yeah, I need something.
I'm kidding. I'm sorry. It's been 2 weeks.
It has been 2 weeks.
It's been 2 weeks.
What are you doing this weekend?
Nothing. I'm
There you go.
literally just trying to get some sleep.
Decompressing, yeah.
Laundry, lots of laundry that I literally just left in the basement. So
Well, good luck with that.
thank you.
Thanks for doing this.
No problem.
All right, Manesa Dhanabalan, my thanks to her for joining me on the show. Okay. Where in the world is Kate Middleton? Yes, Kate Middleton, the Princess of Wales, has become the latest subject of online conspiracy theories as people on social media continue to speculate over why they think she's been away from the public eye. Now, Kensington Palace has said Kate is recovering from a planned abdominal surgery, but that hasn't stopped the internet sleuths from poking around in the princess's life. Now, she was last seen in public on Christmas Day 2023 before Kensington Palace revealed that on January 17th, she was recovering from a planned abdominal surgery and would be taking a step back from public duties until after Easter following the procedure. But after Prince William pulled out of a memorial service for his godfather because of a personal matter this week, Kate's name began trending on X, where a flurry of memes, jokes, and baseless theories began to spread. To help us dig through some of these baseless conspiracy theories and jokes and memes is Laura Sebben, Trending Now producer and co-creator. What's up?
Hello. Pleasure to be back on the podcast, Dad.
Rocking your Lewis Hamilton shirt.
Yeah, it didn't seem to help him today.
Oh, we'll get to that. We just finished 10th? 9th?
Ninth.
9th.
Yeah,
Not even the best Mercedes.
I know. He had the fastest lap in FP2, though.
For what that's worth. It's going to be the Max Verstappen show again, but we'll get to that. Okay, so where in the world is this woman?
Probably just at home.
Is this fair? Is it a fair question to ask? She's the princess. She
Yeah.
the king's got cancer,
Yep.
right? Like this,
Yep.
know, Prince William having to pull out of this Godfather thing. Like,
Yep.
it's a fair question.
I think it's a fair question, and I think part of what has sparked all this is that while the royals are historically secretive and hush hush, most of the time when something happens and they have an ailment or something, they tell you what's going on. So while they didn't disclose what kind of cancer King Charles has, it was he went in for a prostate examination, and now they found something else, and this and this. And we've seen him since then. So I think people were, the one big thing that people brought up was the fact that it said it was a planned surgery, but that her engagements for the next couple months would have to be either canceled or postponed. So people were like, if it was a planned surgery, why did she have engagements kind of thing? But I don't know, who knows? Maybe whatever. She clearly had something that she wants to take time out of the spotlight to recover from. I honestly just think it's been funny. It's one of those moments where the internet is let's dig together, let's do some stuff together. Everybody knows that what people are guessing about her isn't true. And if you don't...
She's not getting a butt job?
A BBL? No. So it's just
a Brazilian
just think
butt
it's funny.
lift is the new thing.
Yeah.
Is that a real procedure that people are getting? Brazilian butt lift?
BBLs have been around for 20 years.
Really?
Yes. The Kardashians got their BBLs sucked out. They had them in and they got them taken out. So... I don't think but maybe she did. And you know what? If the princess wanted a bigger butt, so be it.
We just found our promo for this show. If the princess wanted a bigger butt. Okay, this story is pretty interesting because Sean Diddy Combs has been accused of sexual misconduct before. This time it's a man. A producer says in a lawsuit that Combs groped him, made him solicit prostitutes, and pressured him to have sex with them. Also alleges he was forced to work in a bathroom while Combs showered and walked around naked. New filing, just the latest in a string of several sexual assault lawsuits filed against Diddy in recent months. This is just getting weirder and weirder.
I mean, if you listen to black women, they have been waving the red flag about this guy for 20 years. He's always been sus from what I've heard, so it doesn't surprise me that these things are coming out now. And a lot of what happened last year was there was this statute of limitations thing that they brought around last year that allowed people who were over the age of 18 who had yet to file a sexual assault claim or whatnot, they had removed the statute of limitations as a way to encourage more people to come forward. So that's why you heard 4 last year. But yeah, it doesn't. not to paint like an entire generation, but when you look back at like the people from his generation, like R. Kelly, and like, you know, like there's some sus people.
Yeah.
The music scene in the 90s used to be a lot more volatile, but from the sounds of it, he didn't leave it in the 90s. He's been doing it. And yeah, I think the best example of probably what he's like behind closed doors would be if you like read through the suit that his ex-girlfriend Cassie filed about him.
Which he settled. That one he didn't even take.
Yeah.
That one was like, all right, I don't want to take this
And
to court.
she came out and said after the fact that it settled, she was like, I don't care to settle it and not take him to court. I'm just glad that this information is out there and people know what happened to me.
This one, like, obviously hit the trends hard this week because it dragged all other celebrities into it, including footnotes describe them as a Philadelphia rapper who dated Nicki Minaj and a Super Bowl performer with a successful Vegas residency.
Which, if you're going to redact the names, why put a very descriptive footnote about who it is?
You could have just said Philadelphia rapper, but you had to like
Who dated
really...
Nicki Minaj? And then you could have said someone with a successful Vegas residency, because then you could assume it could be anybody.
Yeah.
No, Super Bowl performer. I just think it's so fun.
It's
And you know, a lot of people were like calling people out online saying this alleged gay like thing between apparently Meek Mill and Usher and Diddy. No proof, nothing.
Were there pictures in the like?
No, there was a picture, but it wasn't of these two guys.
Okay.
It was of another guy who actually got named, Stevie J. I don't know who that is. I've never heard of him, but he was actually named in the lawsuit. Didn't have redacted with a very
Was it
descriptive
Stevie J, the
footnote.
Kim Kardashian?
No, that's Ray J. But no, people were just saying like, this shouldn't be the thing that you're picking up on. It should be the fact that this guy has been accused of sexual assault yet again, and like enough that the last year when Cassie's thing came out, he like lost a lot of business opportunities from it because believe the victim. But there was a funny clip online. I will say the one funny thing that came out of it was somebody made a joke that those footnotes, it was like a Jeopardy question, like who is a Philadelphia rapper who dated Nicki Minaj? Meek Mill.
The one thing I think it was a Get Him to the Greek where Diddy kind of plays a fictionalized version of himself. I'm pretty sure. Is that Diddy?
Maybe.
And I think that's how I kind of always pictured him, that he has kind of always been like a bit of a diva, so to speak.
Yeah. Oh,
right?
he gives that off very, very much.
Let's talk F1. The Bahrain Grand Prix is tomorrow. Not a typical day.
No, it's because
due
of
to
next
Ramadan
week's race.
next week in Saudi Arabia, right?
Yep.
I think.
Yep.
Max Verstappen will be in the pole position. Is this going to be another Max Verstappen show? How many races did he win last year? Like 16?
All but two.
All but two. So what is that, 18 out of 20? 20 out of 22?
Stopped
Season's
counting.
24 now, so his season's getting longer.
Yeah.
Racers are complaining about that. They say they were already out of gas by the end. And when you actually, like, not to, like, make the pun, but the kilometers that these people grow through, right? Not just in the circle, but
And it's
like
not,
to travel.
I know people think like, you're just driving a car. It's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
Like your reaction time, I've seen the videos of them like training their neck and like then it's like 60 degrees, 60, 70 degrees was
In your
probably
car?
Fahrenheit
Like,
in your car.
yeah.
You're losing like up to like 3 gallons of sweat in just one race. Like it's a very taxing, and they do so much outside of the race. Like race week, it's not just Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It starts on Thursday, and they're doing media appearances. They're filming silly, little, fun little videos for us, people who like to know them outside of the car. There's so much going on that it's not just like we have to complete a couple laps around a circuit. Like I can see how they would be like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah, the Verstappen thing, I think, is obviously, is he going to dominate again? I went to the car show last weekend, and they had one of his cars, I don't know from when, like maybe 2018, but Red Bull had this whole thing. It is pretty crazy seeing these cars, like, up close, because they are, like, the tires are just like these giant
Yeah.
freaking rubber thing. Like, it's
Yeah,
not, like,
and then
it's-
you look at where they sit, and you're like, how do they fit in there?
Yeah.
It's so teeny tiny, and they're very much like almost diagonal, like they're almost lying down.
Yeah.
So I can't. Like, as somebody who just like normal drives, I like need, like I'll even say
Somebody normal drives.
like a stupid example. When I play Mario Kart, I'm like, I gotta sit up for this, but they're like lying down. Like, it's a very interesting.
I like how you went
thing.
from when I normal drive
Yeah,
to when I
play
Mario Kart.
you know,
Very,
it's-
two very different things.
Hey, it's like Gran Turismo out here. But I just, like I said,
Are you excited for this season?
no.
Because of Verstappen.
The only difference in the grid after qualifying today is that Alpine sucks. Like, apparently their car sucks.
They were at the, like, both were.
yeah,
at the,
and they were fighting for that 19th place spot, like almost ruining the car before the race. I'm like, guys, calm down. You're in last.
So just
not
say,
that
like, for people who
serious.
like, you race the same car. It's the same car.
Give or take. They're allowed to make adjustments
okay.
and modifications. Like, if you look at last season, halfway through the season, McLaren came out and it was like they had a brand new car, and all of a sudden they were super fast and competing for those top spots. So they are within a budget and within, I'm not entirely sure, they have like a limit to what they can actually do. Like, there was a race last season where both Charles Leclerc and Lewis, they got disqualified because of a change made to their floor, to the floor of their car that apparently was like not cool.
It's like 1 centimeter too low or
so
something.
they are constantly fixing that car. And Lewis did bring up a good point last season, because even when he was dominating, he always was trying to come up with new ways to keep F1 fun and keep F1 like more equal, because he has like an interview from back when he was dominating saying, I get it. Like, it's boring to watch the same person come out and win every race, especially when it's not even close. Like last season, Max would get into first and I wouldn't even pay attention to him. It was from second and on, because he was just out there by himself up ahead. And so Lewis had said, like, they should have a cutoff of when you can start working on your car, because obviously Red Bull started working on their car for this season months before anybody else did, because they didn't have
They
to
didn't
worry
have to
about
do
winning the
anything.
races last season.
Yeah. RB now. They're going by RB.
RB. Oh.
Red Bull. That's what
I
they
don't
want to
know.
go by.
Then he's got this
RB.
the F1 Primo Supreme Steak bet. I don't know. Whatever team Valtteri Bottas is on
I'll take your
has a
word on it.
weird long extendo name.
Really?
Yeah, and they didn't even know what racing suits they were going to be wearing until like last week, because apparently there was an issue with one of their sponsors, so they couldn't even make the racing suits yet.
Outside of this race at 10 a.m. tomorrow, what else you got going on this weekend?
I'm going to see Dune 2 tonight.
Oh, your boy, Timmy
Let's
Chalamet. Your boy.
Going to the VIP theater.
Is he still dating the Kardashian?
Allegedly, they've broken up, and he
Oh.
dumped her.
Oh, good for
according to the
him.
reports. But
Okay, well, have fun.
thanks.
Thanks for doing this. All right, my thanks to Laura Sebben for joining me today. My thanks to Emily Tayler and Manesa Dhanabalan as well. My thanks to Chantal Grillo, who you may notice this new shelf here behind me, so eloquently decorated. That was all her. And my thanks to Mike Corson for directing this show as well. And thank you for tuning in. However you found us, make sure you like and subscribe to CHCH Podcast. But before you do that, make sure you check out all of our Trending Now social media channels at Trending Now CHCH on X and YouTube and TikTok. And while you're subscribing, make sure to subscribe to CHCH Podcast so you never miss an episode of this show or any of the other great shows we have for you, like a brand new episode of Sportsline that just dropped today. And you can catch a brand new episode of that every Tuesday to Friday on CHCH Podcast. One more time, thanks for joining us from all of us here at CHCH. I'm Louis Butko, hoping you have a great weekend.